Let's look at Tuesday in the NBA. We get to see whether Kel'el Ware will actually start for the Miami Heat, and there are 4 other games, 9 other teams. Let's talk about them all. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and the lesson is never try. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball. It's back. TikTok's back. It's back. Instagram, yeah, Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. It's the perfect time to join. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That is right. You don't even need to win to get that bonus. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. Check out LockedOnDaily.com as well. That's where you find the newsletter for your favorite team. Go and do that. LockedOnDaily.com. How are you planning on celebrating National Hyaluronic Acid Day? Got any skin creams you're going to use specially for the day? You're going to do some stuff with your cartilages, ligaments, cushioning. How are you going to celebrate? Hyaluronic acid, one of the better words to say, and a very, very important medical product. Sick. 5 games. 7:30 p.m. Eastern start, no 7 p.m. tip, so you got a little bit of extra time on Tuesday to set your lineups, and we go to the Battle of the Boroughs. They don't never call it that, do they? They don't. They don't call it the Battle of the Boroughs, but it is Brooklyn hosting the New York Knickerbockers. And we know that there is some nonsense happening in Portland. We know there is nonsense plus, some may say, happening in Utah. It's happening in Brooklyn now as well. This is a schedule minus spot for the Knicks. So they've got the back-to-back, the only Monday, Tuesday back-to-back, but then they don't play until Saturday. So it's a bad, longer-term spot here for the Knicks. And Saturday, of course, is a 14-game day. Maxwell Lewis is out. Trendon Watford's out. Cam Thomas is out. Bojan Bogdanovic is dead. And then we've got a couple of other pop-ups on the injury report. Out of nowhere, Zaire Williams is out. Oh, okay, cool. No worries. Zaire is out. D'Angelo Russell is questionable with left hamstring tightness injury management. You might as well just spray it all over me. What are you talking about? Left hamstring tightness injury management. What is this? So Russell's been playing like 25 minutes a night, and it's been solid. But we are getting to that stage of you in that slightly shallower format. That it's droppable probably. Simmons is probable to return from his illness, but I think we're going to get so much shenaniganizing with these guys that, like, even like a fringe guy like Zaire Williams, who maybe it's a real injury, it probably is, right? But, like, who knows, man? Who knows what we take out of this? Who knows how you judge this? So the thing I wanted to watch in this game was Zaire Williams. I guess not anymore. So now it's about Tosin Ebwama. It's about watching if Keon Johnson steps back up. It's about Noah Clowney doing something. It is going to be mess city. A lot of questions I've got about Nick Claxton. Hey, is he worth holding? I don't actually think he is. I think he can be good and he will have some solid games, but there is too much uncertainty with minutes in each game. Whether he plays each game, whether he tries in each game, that there are too many questions for me to say, no, you'd be an idiot if you dropped him. I think that's where I am with him. If you want to drop him, I think it makes some sense. I don't think you have to do it, but, you know, we're going to get garbage all the time here. Stream guys for the Knicks, probably McBride. Just take a look to see what happens if Hart and Towns on the back-to-back, whether they play. And then it is likely Noah Clowney for the Nets, but anyone could pop up. There could be a million different blokes at any point. Ben Simmons, because he's going to play, I would have him over Clowney very, very easily. Very easy. Like, he is just a guy to use now, while Russell may not play. And let's be fair, Russell's not playing. If they put him questionable for this, he won't play. I feel good about saying that. I don't feel good about saying it. I feel confident in saying that. But yeah, so Simmons is going to be worth a look in that particular scenario. The second game is our Orlando Magic. And my Toronto Raptors. I'm conflicted. Who do I want to win? Nobody. I don't really care. Either of them can win. The injury situation for Orlando, Franz Wagner is out. Gary Harris is out. they did upgrade, and I didn't think this would be the case, Jet Howard to questionable. So there you go. Jet Howard and Gary Harris are both questionable. Didn't think either of those would be playing. But what we also got is the news that Jalen Suggs remains out with a low back strain, and Goga Bitadze remains out due to concussion. Absolutely no idea when they're going to come back. Their next game is Thursday, so maybe they return there, but I don't know. For the Raptors, Ochai Agbaji is out, and Emmanuel Quickley is out, and Chris Boucher is questionable with an illness. So for the Magic, with Suggs and Goga out, then Wendell Carter. He's been very good the last 2 games, and he is really a stream guy for now. I don't know what happens when Goga returns. I think he'd be a fringe guy, but for now, we roster him, and the same with Cole Anthony. On the Raptors, Chris Boucher is probably something I want to look at, but also not really. But I know that there's always... I have to always watch Boucher, because as soon as something happens, people are going to run to grab him. So I've got to pay attention and go, really? Is this a thing? So that's mainly for me to say, just keep an eye on what they do with Boucher. In terms of stream guys for the Magic, well, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is there, but Cole Anthony's there, Mr. Black is there, and Wendell Carter. So that's a lot of streaming options now that those guys have been ruled out. And then with Quickley out, Grade A Dick is probably the guy we take a look at in Toronto, although we haven't really got any sort of high-level Dick games recently. I don't know. Maybe you're more into getting high-level Dick game. That's your own business, but we haven't received it very often of late. But I do think that Dick is at least streamable in this scenario with both Agbaji and Quickley on the sidelines. The third game of the day. Blazers. Heat. The Dame package game. It is a Schedule Plus spot for Portland. We know this. They play the 4 games, 6 nights, plus the only team to go Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Thybulle's out, Klingon's out, and then we get to the garbage that is the rest of the injury reporting. Simons, Chris Murray, Robert Williams, all questionable. So I don't really know why they're listing Rob Williams questionable. I was pretty sure that they sat him because it was a back-to-back over the weekend, but now they're calling it left ankle soreness. So again, garbage statement. And then Simons and Murray are both officially questionable. Thybulle's out as well. And then for the Heat, Joshie Richardson's out. So we're just going to get like a bunch of rotating nonsense, I would say, to try and make sure that guys get minutes. And that's going to be frustrating for a Simons and a Grant and whatever else they decide to do. Is Simons a drop? Not yet. He will be, though. And same with Grant. And I think Grant can be dropped anyway. So what I'm watching on the Blazers, Scoot Henderson is cooking at the moment. He's putting up great numbers. And I do believe that you cannot put that away. You cannot stop the 30-plus minutes of Scoot now. That doesn't mean he'll be good every game, but you can't stop him getting those minutes. I don't think. We'll see. I'm not an All-NBA coach or a Coach of the Year candidate like Chauncey Billups, so we'll see what they do. For the Heat, I do want to see what they do with Nikola Jovic, because Jovic's production was still fine, but the minutes dropped a little bit. And they've got that Highsmith-Jovic garbage combination that and by garbage, they're not garbage, but the way that it gets rotated is garbage for our purposes. So I want to see what they do with that. Of course, the stream guy for Portland is probably nearly always Tamani Kamara. Now, if Scoot is available, it's him, obviously. He's ahead of all of these guys. And then on Miami, it's Kel'el Ware. Now, Kel'el Ware, the roster percentage on Basketball Monster, using our advanced roster number, 75%. On Yahoo, 15%. So, for people in the... Well, let's do it. I don't feel I've done it for a while. The double Onyx, Titanium, Platinum, Diamond, Palladium, Bismuth leagues... Kel'el Ware's been scooped. I know this. He's been added. He should be. But he's 15% in Yahoo. That means that, quick calc, 85% of leagues is available. So yeah, just going at him. And of course, we want to see, do they start him? First moment, first tip, it's him and Bam out there. Do they do it? Or do they go back to Hayward Highsmith? You know my thoughts on Highsmith. He is going to get a DMP coming up at some point. That is how Spoelstra rolls. But we'll see what they do with Ware. Was it just a one-off thing against Wemby? Does it matter against DeAndre Ayton? What do you need to guard DeAndre Ayton? I could do that. He's not going to drive and try to get free throws. I could probably stand there and do it. No, I couldn't. Obviously not. But we'll see what they do. It's not quite the Scoot scenario, but it would be hard, I think, to put the Ware genie back in the bottle after what we saw. But it's happened before. It has happened before. And even the greats are not immune to those sort of things. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. If you bet $5 as a new customer, well, you can get $300 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. That is $300 that you can use on all of the bet types over at FanDuel. The app is so easy to navigate. There's a variety of bets that keep everything exciting. You can do it just the straight up. Who's going to win? Easy. Pick. Done. You can use the future Super Bowl champ. Do it. You can do spreads, money lines. I said money lines already. You can do game totals, individual team scoring totals, anytime touchdowns, receiver yard props, quarterback yard props, rushing yard props. Award winners, I think that's there as well, maybe. Maybe not. But go to FanDuel.com and join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay. We're still here looking at the games. 3 of them done. We've got 2 more to go. Philadelphia, Denver. Jokic, Embiid. Nah, of course not. Might not have anyone play. Nah, Jokic is going to play, I'm sure, but yeah, Embiid won't. I don't know why I put that schedule plus for Portland there, just so you remember, I guess, or I just forgot to take it off. But that's okay. Embiid's out. KJ Martin's going to be out. And then there's just a bunch of players where we just don't know with Philadelphia because they've been missing. But like, I think Paul George has missed 3 of the last 4 games. So, like, how do we judge this? KJ Martin will be out. I think Caleb Martin, who's dealing with this hip sprain, won't play. I've got him doubtful. I think Kyle Lowry with his hip issue, I think is doubtful. Actually, I think Martin says a groin, not a hip, my bad. But Yabusele's missed 2 in a row. George has missed 3 of the last 4 with ankle/groin/whatever garbage they're coming up with. Embiid's not going to be there. The only one I'll say is that Drummond will probably return, who sat out for injury management with his toe. Chanchar will be out for the Nuggets, and then last game, Peyton Watson left early with a hit to the head. We'll see whether it's anything that comes out of it, but we haven't had an update on that. But this could just be very, very nasty. I want to watch Tyrese Maxey because historically without Embiid, he struggled efficiency-wise. Last game was really good. And we want to see where he can sort of sit. Can he be a guy that sort of carries when other guys are out? And that hasn't always or hasn't been the case at all. But maybe he can develop that. And then for the Nuggets, the last couple of games from Christian Brown have been good. Now, I tweeted this out yesterday or the day before. I don't remember what it was. But I think 11 of the last 12 Nuggets games have been decided by double digits. So there's been a lot of blowouts. Now, Brown has really benefited the last 2 games as they keep everyone else's minutes down. Westbrook, Porter, Jokic, but they pumped more into Brown. So I'm not here to think that Brown is now back to a 34-minute-a-night guy and a 12-team league player. Was that just a blowout thing? But that's what we want to watch. Because how does it all fit in with Gordon, Westbrook, Watson, if he plays, and how does Brown fit into that grouping? In terms of streams, it's probably Ricky Council for the Sixers, but man, it could be Yabusele, it could be Boner. I just don't know who's going to play. It's Justin Edwards, maybe. Like, there's just a lot of guys that I don't feel super comfortable with at this point until we know more. And then for the Nuggets, Julian Strawther is likely to be the stream guy there, assuming Brown and Westbrook and even Watson have been grabbed already. The next one up is the last game of the day. It's the Wizards and the Lakers. We're in LA for this one. There's a 14.5-point spread here for the Lakers. Brogdon, I'm guessing, is going to be out. Same with Bagley, Vanderbilt, Wood, Hood-Schifino. The Lakers ones, Austin Reeves banged knees at the end of the last game. He says he's going to play, but I'm just not going to believe a player. I don't think it's a long-term thing, but honestly, you never know. Anthony Davis, I'm certain, will appear on the injury report as either probable or questionable with his foot, and LeBron will be there as probable for injury rest management, or whatever they want to call it. LeBron will play. Davis, I'm a little iffy about. He just did not look right in the last game, and it's against the Wizards, and then they play Boston and Golden State after that. So I wouldn't be shocked if you get a Davis game off due to the foot, or at least a questionable tag on AD here. But he's going to pop up on that injury report. For the Wizards, Bilal Coulibaly has been really quite bad of late. He's not doing anything well. The shooting numbers are all off. He does struggle when he plays alongside Kyle Kuzma. The shots aren't as voluminous and the percentages are way down. He's shown an ability at times to put up great numbers, but we also have to remember that stretch at the beginning of the year from Bilal, I believe he was at like 95% finishing at the rim, and that's an exaggeration, but it also isn't. I think it was the highest number in the entire NBA, and that's why some of his numbers look so good. Now, he can still get steals and blocks and assists, and it's one of those ones where maybe you want to hang and wait for other guys to go down, but it's not like his minutes have been low. His minutes are fine. He's playing huge minutes every game. It's just that he's inconsistent and the shooting is not real. So I continue to watch him, but I also wouldn't blame you if you dropped. For For the Lakers, I put Gabe Vincent there because there is a chance he could see a larger role if Reeves is out. It's not going to be super exciting. The stream guys are probably Bub Carrington and Max Christie, but that's all those guys are. They're not guys to have as must rosters. They're not guys to hold through things. They're just going to be guys with the occasional good game, the occasional bad one. We've seen that for both of those over the last 3 or 4 days. That they're not the must roster sort of a player. They're just useful enough to consider in a spot where streaming makes sense, which is this with only 5 games on. That's a useful enough position to consider using those guys in, and I think that's probably about as far as it needs to go. We'll come back, we'll talk schedule stuff, we'll talk streams. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by Prize Picks. With the NBA season in full swing, there's no better way to get in some real money action while watching your favorite stars than with Prize Picks. It makes it fun and easy to turn all of that basketball knowledge into cash. It's so easy to do. You get the player projections and you look at them. You choose 2 of them at least, put them into a lineup, and you can win at least up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's on points or rebounds, assists or steals or blocks or fantasy points. You just look at the number and you choose more or less, and you can get it done in under 60 seconds. Take longer, think about it, but you can do it that way. And with Prize Picks Flex Play option, even if one of those picks does not hit, you still got the opportunity to double your money. And when you do win, you can get paid out as fast as 15 minutes sometimes. Now is the perfect time to join, so download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That is right, there's no need to win to get the bonus, it is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay, so let's now go through and just take a look at some schedule things, because it is some interesting stuff happening in the schedule at the moment. In terms of teams with a back-to-back Tuesday to Wednesday, it's only Brooklyn, and there's shenanigans happening here. So, yeah, Ben Simmons might be good for one of these games, but he probably sits on Wednesday. Zaire Williams is already out, so it's Keon, it's Clowney, it's Evbomwan, it's Dayron, it's Jalen Wilson maybe, because there's no way D'Lo's playing both. I don't think there's any way Cam Johnson's playing both. There's no way Ben Simmons is playing both. So you're going to have options of other guys. I think Claxton probably is at risk of sitting as well. So you're going to have some randomness. You've got to just find the guy who plays 2 games, which might not be easy, but that's what you've got to try to do. In terms of chunks, that is taking us Tuesday through to Saturday. Is that right? No, Tuesday through to Saturday. Understanding that Saturday's a 14-game day, but some of these players are just useful regardless. Kel'el Ware, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Najee Marshall, Tamani Kamara, Noah Clowney, and Grade A Dick. All some value with those guys, with the understanding, of course, that on Saturday you might not use them anyway. If we take a look at some 5s and 2s, because we don't just care about a week that starts on Monday, we talk about 5 games in 7 nights at any point, or 2 games in 7 nights, because that's important. Because while our matchup might be week-long, the way you manage your roster doesn't have to be. So let's look at the next 7 days. Who's got a big schedule, who's got a small one, who's got a 5-game week, which is not a real week, but you know what I mean. There are a lot of teams that actually fall under this umbrella this time around. 4 teams play 5 games in 7 nights. The Hawks, the Lakers, the Bucks, and the Blazers have 5 games in 7 nights, Tuesday through to Monday. And 2 teams, the Paris teams, the Pacers and the Spurs, play 2 games in 7 nights. And if we had that week starting on Monday, we'd be going, oh my God, look at all these 5-game teams to look at. Or, oh my God, 2-game teams, what a disaster. I'm not saying that you need to panic or rush to grab or any of those things. It's more that no one, apart from what I'm trying to do this year, no one really talks about that. As they wow, schedule play. Well, it's happening in week 14. It's got to happen right now. We've only got to work on Mondays. Which is great because that's how a matchup works. But again, it's about getting that value in and bang for your buck with your ads. So Hawks, Lakers, Bucks, Blazers, 5 games, 7 nights. Pacers, Spurs, 2 games in 7 nights. Let's talk streaming now. There's going to be things that change based on availabilities and updates to injury reports. We know how all that works, but let's take a look at the streams of the day. At this stage, again, using the cutoffs that I use, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope sits up pretty high. You could throw Cole Anthony in that mix as well. That's for 10s. For 12s, I've got Max Christie. I've got Bub Carrington for 14. And for Deeper League, I've got Duncan Robinson. And then Kel'el Ware. He's available in so many spots. Not according to Basketball Monster, but according to Yahoo, he is. So for Yahoo points and ESPN points, I do have Kel'el Ware there, closely followed by Cole Anthony and Wendell Carter Jr. For 10-team streaming options, these are all 65% rostered or below on Basketball Monster's advanced numbers, so Ware does not qualify here. That's Caldwell-Pope, Max Christie, Noah Clowney, Bub Carrington, Duncan Robinson, and the Prestige Penis, Grade A Dick. For 12-team formats, we're looking at Dorian Finney-Smith, Johnny Isaac, Keyshawn George, Corey Kispert, Kelly Olynyk, and Davion Mitchell. I created these lists before I knew that Suggs and Badadze were out, so Anthony and Carter moved to the top of that list as well. Cole Anthony, that is, and then Anthony Black jumps up a little bit as well. For deeper league stream guys, so 14 teams and deeper, we're going to Juice McBride, Julian Strother, Mr. Black, DeAndre Jordan, Dayron Sharp, and Gabe Vincent. And then when I was creating these points league lists, we heard that Suggs and Goga were out, so that adjusts it. So at the top of Yahoo points, it's clear where Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter, Ben Simmons, Tamani Kamara, and Little Chungus Nikola Jovic. And lastly, for ESPN points leagues, it's a very similar list. We go to Ware, Anthony, Carter, Simmons, Max Christie, and Nikola Little Chungus Jovic. That is the end of a preview for a 5-game Tuesday across the NBA. Hit the old subscribe button over here if you could so do. It would be great. I would appreciate it. But also I want you to appreciate yourselves. I want you just to keep up the good things. I hope it's making a positive difference in your life. I hope that it's enabling you to just work on things in a small way and, brick by brick. Guys, we are done here. Speaking of brick by brick, shout out to Adam Flagler. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.